Hey. All right. I hope y'all ready. I hope y'all ready. Hold on, I gotta yell at the little people. Okay, turn it down just a little bit, okay? Thank you. Hey. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a couple seconds to log in. I can't go live, y'all won't let me. I'm gonna try again after I get off of here. Keep telling me service unavailable for YouTube. For both my channels. I don't believe in coincidences though. So I just been on IG acting the ass. Because whenever I can't direct my energy in one area, I'm going to direct it in the other. Oh, God. Hey. All right. Can you let them know I'm live too, please? All right. We at the 1 minute mark, so I'm just going to get started, okay? So this is Divine Feminine and Masculine. Hey, I'm trying to go live later on today. Hopefully it let me. I made my schedule and was like, where's she at? Aw, see? At least you made my day. Thanks, Christina. Oh, the dog. The dog needs to be let back in, too. I apologize for a whole bunch of distractions. If y'all hear ice like this, I promise y'all I'm drinking water. So, grab him for me. I'm trying to do this water diet. It's not working, okay? It just makes me want more food. All right. This is Divine Feminine and Masculine number 7. Ooh, lucky number 7. Hey, we're good. I'm good. All right, 7 is a real lucky number for me. I actually like the number 7, all right? So I feel like it's a lot to be learned here, and I'm trying to find a way to break this up where it's in the most simplest way possible. All right, so this has to do with cord cutting, but before I can get into cord cutting, I'm going to do some partial pieces for cord cutting, but I'm about to let y'all know how all of this kind of ties into each thing all together. All right, so boom. All right, so when we say cord cutting, okay, cord cutting is really the act of trying to like remove yourself from somebody else's energy. Okay, a lot of times the best way to do different cord cutting is to ground yourself, right? So that's why most people, when they say, oh, you know, I'm ready to cut cords or I want to cut cords, the first thing they do, they focus on their chakras, right? Because, y'all, I'm sorry, I don't know how to. They focus on their chakras because your chakras are the ground and the basis for planets, okay? Yeah, like when I say planets, I mean like the main planets that have a lot to do with your personality, your relationships, your love life, your history, repetitive cycles, like your planetary alignment, your chart has a lot to do with that, okay? So when we're thinking about the planets, planetary alignments, our signs, sun sign, Venus sign, moon sign, Mercury sign, Saturn sign, Jupiter sign, all right, and Mars, that has a lot to do with how we cut cords. Isn't that crazy? Because somebody could easily say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this person at all, you know, anymore whatsoever. I'm ready to be done with them. I want to walk away. Boom, right? But the way your chart is set up, your chart is set up to say, well, I'm just not so ready to leave. Or I'm done with your ass, but for some strange reason I can't leave. Or I'm done with your ass, but I just keep drawing in your energy somehow. So I'm going to go over with you really quickly of why, A, you probably need to realign, A, your thought process, your chakras, and how to have a better thesis on what it is that you're actually cutting. Because what people tend to do, they'll say, oh, you know what? I want to be done with this relationship, but they still think about it later. In lieu manifesting, in lieu meditating, in lieu subconsciously bringing the energy back in. Hey, okay. So let's first get into the chakras, okay? Which is why I asked y'all to look at that video, because the video makes way more sense than you think, okay? So when we're talking about chakras, they're going to play the biggest part of cord cutting, okay? If your chakras are out of alignment, is almost, I'm not going to say impossible because you could do it. It just takes longer. So when you hear people that say, you know what, I've been in a relationship for 6 months and it took me 3 years to get over this person, or I was in a relationship for 10 years and it took me 40 years to get over this person. And then you have some people, they be in a relationship for 17 years and they be done with the motherfucker in 2 days. You be like, damn, how did you just let go so quickly? It has a lot to do with their chakra and their alliances in their chakras, okay? So just to kind of like have some fun here, all right? What chakra would y'all say is y'all strongest chakra? Just throw it out there. Like for you, what's your strongest chakra? Like for me, my strongest chakra is this might sound petty as hell, but it's really my throat chakra. Don't make me cuss y'all the fuck out. I don't have time on here today. They ain't got shit to do with me being the empress either. Asses. Third eye. Okay. Oh, it's funny stone. That's funny to you? Oh my God. Crown chakra. Okay. Heart chakra. Okay. Throat chakra. Okay. Root chakra. All right. It's funny, Brittany. That was hilarious to you. Solar chakra. Yes, I say throat. Right. All right. I needed help on my heart chakra. Okay. All right. So let me tell y'all something, all right? Most of y'all probably know this, but if you didn't know this, I'm going to just throw it out there anyway, okay? So we'll say your root chakra, okay? Third eye, okay. So we'll say you have a root chakra, okay? Because I'll go in chronological order. I'll go in some order, okay? When you're dealing with your root chakra, you're dealing with Mars, okay? When you're talking about your throat chakra, you're dealing with Mercury. So wherever your Mercury sign is in, whatever you just picked, that's probably how you're going to let go and have a stronger point of cord cutting. So let me go back. I want to look at the chat really quickly if I can find somebody as an example. All right, we'll use you, Lori. All right. So you picked third eye chakra, right? Yeah, that's Saturn. What's your Saturn sign? Do you know? Who picked heart chakra? Anybody pick heart chakra? I think somebody did. You did? Okay, so if you picked heart chakra, what is your moon sign? I believe your moon sign is Scorpio, right? Stone? That's what I was thinking. Okay, so we'll say if you picked your heart chakra and you're a Scorpio, your best way of cutting cords is going to be detachment. Like, you're detaching from this person, like almost instantly. You're going to act like they pretty much don't exist, all right? You're going to find something to kind of keep up with your time, all right? You're looking at the dark side of Scorpio, okay? So this is adding more people on to the list to get rid of people that you care about. If it's something that's really, 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 really serious, it's still going to be that sense of detachment, all right? All right, so you picked third eye and you have Saturn and Leo, okay? So if you pick third eye and your Saturn and Leo, cutting cords for you are going to come from being happy, genuinely happy. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to come from you being radiant. It's going to come from you being able to get out and about, move around. It's not going to come from you sitting in the bed, because the more you sit in the bed, the more you're going to reduce your vibration. I'm hoping this is making sense, all right? So say, for instance, if you pick, throat chakra and you have Mercury, or we'll say you have Mercury and we'll say Libra. All right, so throat chakra, Mercury, Libra, you're really dealing more in or with a person that had, or the best way to cut cords when you have a Mercury and Libra is going to be for you to figure out the negative fallacies behind the person that you were dealing with that you're trying to cut cords from. Okay, the minute you can identify those, the better off you'll be with not worrying about what could have been, because you'll have kind of facts laid out in front of you. I hope this is making sense. All right. So say, for instance, if you pick the sacral chakra, okay? If you pick sacral chakra, it rules Venus, all right? So what's your Venus sign in? We'll say if your Venus is in, I don't know, we'll say Virgo, all right? So I said my Mercury's in Libra. Okay, so that's what you do. You see the ugly in people, then Tiara. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, I'm right here. You'll see the ugly in a person, and because of how ugly you look at them now, you're done with it. You're gonna cut cords from them immediately, almost instantaneously, because you feel like they just have became the most non-sexiest person in the world to you based off of their words or instances or things that they've said or done. In which that's how you detach. That's how you're gonna be able to cut cords. All right. So if somebody picked, we'll say root chakra, okay, it's gonna go off of your Mars sign, okay? So if it's going off of your Mars sign, then we'll say if you have Mars in Aries, you're gonna put more time and effort into going back and forth with that person. And it says, yes, I find that I'm not as attracted anymore once they cross me. Yeah, absolutely. And by you realizing that, you're able to cut away from them almost like instantly. So if you picked root chakra, and we'll say your Mars is in Aries, I see somebody say their Mars is in Cancer, all right, then a Cancer Mars is going to be really hard to cut cords, period. Like, reason being is because y'all see the good in everybody. And until you really get fed up, you're going to really prolong that process. Even though you're done with them mentally, how do you get your mind to go to the ugly? I'm going to tell you that in 2 seconds. Because for Cancer Mars, because you see the good in them, you're going to have to let the situation play out, but continue to stay busy. So this is when you rely solely on your moon sign. What's your moon sign? Who had the Mars in Cancer? What's your moon sign? Libra. Okay. So you got to think about the dark side of Libra. The dark side of Libra is they could be cold, they could be detached, they could be distant. They're very verbal. They get verbal aggressive, shit, sometimes physically aggressive. They cut themselves off to the world when they're healing. Everything that's on the dark side of Libra is everything that you're going to need to use to cut cords. So you're going to need to become more verbal. You're going to need to become more detached. You're going to need to become more rude. I know this sounds crazy, but cutting cords is not as easy as it might seem. Because most people will say, oh, you can just cut cords, you just walk away, right? Or you can cut cords, you just stop talking about that person, or you stop thinking about that person. No, that doesn't work like that. Especially if you come across your exalted or your fall sign of your sun, moon, or rising or Venus sign, then you have created a tie, like a soul tie. And when you're thinking about, we'll say the soul of a person, it will be almost like me, gripping or taking these two pieces right here, right? And gluing them together, right? If I glued these together, no matter if I pull these apart or not, some of this piece gonna come off on this piece, right? It's gonna rip into one. So one of y'all is going to lose more of they self than the other person. Now, even if that just so happens to be you, okay, you still have the right to go back and peel off each layer until you get back to, the best point of yourself before you were attached to that person, okay? And sometimes it's not easy, but once it's done, you have to accept the fact that that parts of yourself will never be the same, okay? Other people, when they do the cord cutting, okay, when they do the cord cutting, they have a tendency when they break away, they have a tendency of acting like that damage doesn't exist, all right? And they'll try to hurry up and get past it. Like, you know what? Forget this. Boom. If your Mars, your Venus, your Moon, your Jupiter, your Saturn, or your Mercury is not conducive for that, what you're really doing is prolonging, peeling off that extra piece that was glued to this, if that makes sense. Like, some people will go piece by piece, right? And pick it off until it's completely like normal almost. Others will leave it there and act like they don't see it. But to every person that's walking up, they will clearly be able to see the damage that's there, but you don't see it. I hope that makes sense. All right. Yes, Stone. So a part of cutting cords, and this is really the main part that most people forget the most, is mentally understanding that that's what you're here to do. Not in this class, but that's what you're trying to do in general. Okay. And they missed that part. They switched to the part of, oh, I'm going on to the next thing. I'm worrying about the next best thing. I'm putting my time into this. I'm putting my time into that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. I'm going to, like, they go through all of that and never really cut the cord. So we're going to get into that right now. Okay. How do you know when your chakras are off balance? Does anybody know? Or can you tell me, how do you know when your chakras are off balance? I got my notes right here, y'all, in case y'all wondering. How do you know when your chakras are off balance? Anxiety. Okay, yeah. I just didn't know, but I bet mine are off. Depression, tired, irritation, angry. Yes, thoughts, feeling like something is in your energy or aggravating your energy. You don't really know what. You can't go to sleep. You're not sleeping properly. You want to argue, even though there is no really way. Off balance, create disease within the body that assisted chakras. Yeah, mine is off, LOL. That part of that affects doesn't work properly. Yeah, that chakra is usually, yeah, like she said, it's off. You know what I'm saying? Another thing is you have racing mind. You have upset stomach, or you'll tend to, like, people that have chakras that aren't aligned as great as they supposed to be. You have a tendency of having butterflies in your stomach more than other people. You also have racing heart more than other people. So we'll say if you meet somebody new, you have a tendency, as a result, they spin slower, not as usual upright. Absolutely. As a result, you tend to have like nervousness more than others. When you meet somebody new, like say for instance, if you walk up, you meet somebody new, you get their information, whatever, you start to feel more anxiety faster. You start to second guess a lot of yourself, the questions, like it's a lot of stuff that comes off balance when you meet somebody new or when you come across that person. Like there are real life people that when they get into a relationship or meet somebody new, they become just like nervous, like off, or they start blaming this person for shit that they didn't do. Like everybody's a suspect, everybody's a liar, everybody's conniving. What's to you? Why do you act like this? Where'd you come from? This. It's like, it's almost like you can't get in alignment with honesty. You can't get in alignment with a peace of mind. You can't get alignment with yourself. You can't get in alignment with the people around you. And everybody has a problem. Every relationship has a problem. Every relationship has a something to it, a woe, okay? So what causes these chakras to get off balance, all right? Usually past trauma, like the example that I was giving y'all about, these two being stuck together, where you never peeled that piece off, okay? But you met somebody else after you left that piece on there, you stuck something on top of that, and you peeled that off, and then you stuck something else on top of that, and you try to peel that off. Well, now you got multiple layers of this same trauma, pain, sadness film, okay, that you still haven't took care of yet. What if you are healed, but yet you still experience anxiety because the person's vibe being on? Then you're not really healed. So think about, and this will be a question for you, Stone. Think about your old high school sweetheart, or a chick that you will say dated in like high school or something like that. Nothing about them makes you probably intrigued. Nothing about them makes you want to talk to them, heal from them, deal with them at all. It's just, it's done, right? It's almost obsolete. It's like non-existent, all right? So you know that you have either healed or you just don't even care about that situation, to the point where it just doesn't bother you like that. Like if you're not healed from something, it still messes with your vibe. Like that person can still bother your vibe. They can still call and piss you off. They still can text and piss you off, or you'll run into them. Like, cause you know the way energy works. I mean, in terms of a new person, not the same person I'm after, because sometimes we get weird vibes and intentions from people like past trauma. I would still say healing. The reason I'm saying that is because if you done with something, you ain't looking for it in nobody else, and it's gonna be really hard for you to pick up something like that unless you're looking for it or your energy is calling for it, if that makes sense. Like if you see something in somebody else that remind you of somebody else, it's because you still see something about your old person. Like it's still an energy there with your old person around. Because I only can speak for myself, right? I haven't seen any qualities of people that I have met currently for people that I've have dated in the past, if that makes sense. So I can't see it as, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense. Like once you're done with something, you're not gonna see it again because you're really blocking out that energy. And if you do so happen, we'll say, I don't know, if you dated a Gemini or something like that in the past, and then you meet another Gemini and you be like, okay, you act like the last Gemini I dated. Like, it's just that. You're like, oh, I dated the last Gemini. I'm done. Like, and then you go about your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. But hold on. I missed your question, Tiara. Give me 1 second. It says, how do you know if you're always suspicious of people because your chakra's off, because your chart, because my moon is in Scorpio, Mars in Aries, and Neptune in Capricorn? How do you know? It's just something that you do. Like you naturally have your defense up. Like to the fact that you're in this class, you know that it's something that you need to work on. You know what I'm saying? And it's probably masculine energy, right? And if it's not masculine energy, then you know that you need to work on like the ability to just get rid of something because you know it's holding you back, or it's bothering you, or it's gnawing at you, or you're seeing the same thing that you did, you know, in the past happen now, and you're like, dang, why do I keep repeating the same instances? Like, why does this stuff keep happening to me? Now, usually, if your root chakra is off, okay, which you just said you have a Mars and Aries, that's going to be the first situation that you're going to have, is going to be for your root chakra is off, because it's going to burn itself out, okay? And I'm trying to like give y'all like the melted down version of this, so y'all have to forgive me. So I'm not like over giving y'all like the, you know, the professor answer, I guess, when you like, well, what's this? Well, what's that? You know? So forgive me, okay? So we'll say if your alignment is root chakra and you have an Aries and Mars, the first thing that's going to go for you when it comes to chakra alignment, chakra recharging is going to be your root chakra, because you already done burned yourself out, because you already in this screening process. Everything is a screening process, from people to work to money to kids to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you always going to want to know what's to somebody. If your root chakra is activated, you're looking at the principle behind situations, not the fiery side of the situation. How is this helping me? How is this making me money? How is this going to, you know, like expand what I'm trying to do? Like, that's going to be the thought process for your healthy and charged root chakra. Okay? If it's not, everything is fiery. Everything is, oh, what you want now? Like, what you doing now? Like, why is this way? Like, oh my God, like you're more irritated. Your root chakra causes you to be more irritated, more short-tempered, more distant to people, like all of that, you know? Now, how do you know when your sacral chakra needs to be activated, okay? Because that's your Venus sign, or Venus, all right? You're going to notice, hey, I'll have to go back and watch from start. Definitely. Let me know. How do you know that the sacral chakra needs to be activated? You have to really look at how you dealt with trauma. Perhaps we see the trait because we didn't learn a lesson about ourselves from that relationship. Okay, so remember, y'all, this is my theology or my ideology, all right, on how I feel this works, okay? Now, I do and did offer healer sessions, so the people that were in my healer sessions will be able to say like, okay, or confirm that my way and my ideology is okay for them and it worked for them, okay? And I've had close to more than 900 people. So I think I might have it right, but again, some people do it differently. So this is my theology or ideology, okay? So if you're saying, okay, you didn't learn your lesson, it really doesn't have much to do with a lesson. Oh yeah. So it doesn't have much to do with a lesson, right? Your chakras have everything to do with your makeup, like as far as like your planetary alignment, okay? We use certain chakras more than others. Example, if I am a musician, I'm using my throat chakra more than anything, okay? If I am, we'll say I don't know, we'll say a financial expert, okay? I probably would use my root chakra. You know what I'm saying? So it really depends on what you do in your real life, you know, in order for you to know why you're burned out from this, or that. If you've worked 12-hour shifts before, your root chakra is fried. So it's up to you to go back in and recharge that, because if your root chakra is fried, when it comes to a relationship, you're not going to be able to put that time, energy, and effort into a relationship because you don't have anything else left to give. You've already just burned yourself out from a 12 to 14-hour day. So say, for instance, if you have 2 jobs, kids, a business, your root chakra is pretty much fried already. I hope that makes sense. 12 to 18 chakra burn me out as a nurse. I get home and I crash. Exactly. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and they were just for 2 seconds come up to you with some bullshit, that's done. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get tired of that relationship faster because your root chakra it's not gonna be able to deal with anything else. It don't want anything else. And your body and your chakras will tell you that. Damn, I work 5 12-hour shifts a week. Exactly. So that's something that you have to look at, which is why they always say, you know, you need to find time to recharge. You need to find time to meditate. You need to find time for self. Like, damn, that's why I leave people for little or nothing. Yes, because if you're dating somebody and your chakra is already dimming, we'll say, and you already got a lot of shit on your plate, you're not gonna really take that time frame to figure out like anything else. You're not gonna put time and energy and effort into anything else. It says if both work 12 hours, they got nothing to give. Exactly. So this is where the heart chakra comes in. Excuse me. This is where the heart chakra comes in. Mercury, communication. If your heart chakra is activated, but your root chakra is burned out, it says, random question, is it fair to associate chakra with cylinders of an engine? No. The only reason I say that is because an engine has to have certain parts in order for the motor to even start in the first place. Chakras, you could do without some of them and still, you know, the motor still kind of runs, if that makes sense. So most people, third eye chakra is closed. That's just me being honest. You know what I'm saying? If you're dealing with a shut down root chakra, your heart chakra should work overtime. Like, because it's gonna have to come in and say, all right, for the love of this, I'm gonna do this, and that, or I'm gonna help with this, and that. You know, I'm gonna make sure this happens with this and that. It's that dedication of time, you know, and communication, which is Mercury. I hope this is making sense. All right. Now, say for instance, if you have a crown chakra activated and your root chakra is fried, you know, you probably have come across people whose crown chakra is activated, but their root chakra is fried. These are going to be people that are really good people, you know, but they don't see the shit that they do. They don't understand the stuff that they say to people. They're really rude, maybe condescending. But when they're not like that, they're a good person, okay? And those are the people, when they activate the root chakra or align their root chakra, it makes them snap into it and be like, you know what? I apologize. I am a little off. I am, acting this way. I am doing this. I am doing that. And then those chakra activates and says, you know what? Let's figure out a way to communicate about this. Does this make sense? So if you're dealing with somebody, I'm being 100% honest with y'all, okay? If you're dealing with somebody that's from the hood, all right, and they don't know shit about chakras, if you're dealing with somebody that's prestige and they don't have enough time to put into themselves, if you're dealing with somebody that's young-minded or immature, none of their chakras are probably activated. But if all your chakras work but one, you're probably picking the wrong person. So for you to need cord cutting is probably not even necessary. Reason being is because you've never really aligned a cord with anybody. How do you know when it's time for you to cut cords with somebody? You align with this person, okay? You maybe meditated with them. I mean, obviously sex, right? But you are connected with them on a deeper level, which requires you to cut cords because y'all have had some type of I guess I could say magnetic connection, if that makes sense. Or some type of alliance, if that makes sense. If y'all prayed together, meditated together, we'll say astral sex, masturbation, sex, shit like that. Like, that's the stuff that kind of creates those type of chakra connections, okay? Most of the time, oh yeah, if you were dealing with Scorpio, that's exactly what it was. Most of the time, that's the deep level cord cutting that you need. If it's more of those situations where you just met somebody, you like them, okay, they walked away, you want to know why they ghosted you, oh my God, like, that's just a matter of you recharging your root chakra and you're good, you know what I'm saying? And you can walk away from that. But if this is one of those situations where you were like in the relationship, y'all on the phone, maybe phone sex or sex, or, stuff like that, where the mind, when you start getting more than 3 chakras involved, yeah, you need to cut cords, okay? Arguing with a person. If you arguing with a person where you're discombobulated, it says, is that why some people are nicer after they got their chakras aligned, i.e. having sex after a long time of celibacy tries being? Yes, because a lot of people, after they go through Reiki healing or Kundalini healing, it says, I'm a nurse who works, yeah, it could be fine. Yes. As you realize which chakras you need to recharge, is gonna help you identify A, where you went wrong in a relationship, B, what type of person you picked in the first place, C, is going to allow you to be able to disconnect from that individual because you'll know where their weaknesses were in their chakras. Now, let me say this too. There are people in the world whose chakras don't need to be recharged. These are your high priestess. These are your, sometimes the Hierophant, if you got Taurus in your chart somewhere, especially if you have a Taurus moon, Mercury, North Node, or Venus, all right? Where they don't need to recharge your chakras, but they usually use their chakras for the worst. Where they put or Libra. I forgot to throw Libra in there because Libra is Venus to Empresses, okay? If you come across an Empress or if you have Libra in any of those major placements, you necessarily don't need to recharge your chakras. People actually come to you to recharge theirs. Now, you may have to look at, fallacies in certain chakras of yours, like your heart chakra, all right? Depending on where your Mercury sign is, because you may just fall in love easily, in which then you would have to cut cords because you've allowed yourself to intervene with somebody else's energy and it had nothing to do with you. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, what you just said, like people that are lost. So it's not your chakras as much as off balance. It's more that you just gave your chakra to somebody else. Like, here, you need something? I got you, huh? Boom. So now they're using your shit and you just need it back. So that's when you would say, okay, now I have to find a way to detach or cut cords so that way I can get back to my own, La-da-dee life. You know what I mean? All right, so now that we know what the chakras are, I'm going to go really quickly into two things here, all right, on why these chakras might be having the hardest time in the first place. Chakra recharge also includes sexually, right? The higher vibration, the better, i.e., sexual healing. Yeah, but if you are trying to cut cords, you want to be very careful with that, because if somebody uses, we'll say, sexual healing as a way of getting over a situation and scenario, then you just basically duped yourself again. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if it's in a good way, like if you meet, like say for instance, if somebody get out of a crappy relationship and they meet their soulmate and they do use their soulmate, we'll say, like you said, for like sexual healing or some type of connection or meditation or even conversation, because conversation can increase your chakras. That's why when you first meet somebody, you be ecstatic and your energy and stuff be like extremely, extremely high, because that person can boost your chakras because it's new energy, you know? You want to know what's to their energy. Most of the time, you find out later on that that's not the energy that you want, but, you know, that's what happens, you know? God bless you. All right, so hold on. I'm going to go into this really quickly because I had to break this up into 5 courses too. So if y'all wondering like, okay, what's what? So I want y'all to understand first how the chakras make a big point and when you're cutting cords, so you know what to focus on when you're cord cutting, okay? And I don't mean cord cutting like as in, you know, stones and crystals and baths and, you know, that stuff does work. You know, I've bought spiritual cleanse, you know, a spiritual cleanse kit before. It wasn't like, you know, some of the shit that people do right now and all of that, but it's, you know, I bought that before where it was just generic as hell. Like, you know, I went to Target, bought the shit I wanted to buy from Target, and that was that, you know, and it's worked. So I don't really per se, according to me, feel like it's necessary to just like amp up on a bunch of shit. But when you're dealing with things like Mercury retrograde, negative people, especially somebody's mama, all right? I don't know if y'all know anything about that, the mama effect, but a mom can do all type of shit for her child, you know? Most women learn certain things from their mamas, okay? So if you have a dude that you're dealing with and their mom is, I would say, a practicer of bullshit because they don't want you to be together, then that is a strong cord to cut. If you so happen to have an ex and the ex girlfriend decides that she wants to jump into some shit because it's a secondary energy, then you got to cut cord from that shit. I mean, I'm hoping this is making sense, and I'm sorry because I'm just trying to let y'all know, because a lot of times y'all don't be knowing like half of the shit that really be going on, you know, and that's cool because I really feel like the more you don't know, the better off you are. But one thing about if you're a good person, your intuition is going to tell you a lot, you know, your energy is going to tell you a lot. So you have to cut cords from those people additionally from cutting cords from everything else. It says this girl is obsessed with me over a guy. Yes. So when you're dealing with somebody like that, you have to cut cords from her. Okay. So the best example, it says, for example, I cut the cord from my mom. They sometimes use it to indirectly control their children. Yeah, you can have a toxic parent, but you can't. Well, okay. So let me ask you this, Stone. Is your grandmother still around? Or does your mom talk to your grandmother? No? Okay. So your grandmother is her spirit guide. If that's the case, because she's no longer here. Okay, so if she's no longer here, then your mom probably talks to her mom if they had that type of relationship, which makes her mom your spirit guide, okay? If she's one of your spirit guides now, then you don't have to necessarily cut cords from her or talk to her. You would talk to her mama. I know y'all wondering like, what? All right. So the reason for that is because you can't tell your mom how to change her viewpoint on a situation. Oh, I see the connection already. I learned something new. Yeah, like she's gonna listen to her mama, but she ain't gonna listen to you, you know? So it's gonna take her mom to come to her and tell her, like, look, stop this, do that, do this. Like, because once she's no longer here, she's coming directly to you. Because remember, in all walks and all facets of life, we're not living for our children, we're living for our children's children, okay? Sounds like spiritual politics. Again, this is my ideology on how things work, and I don't know. From what I've been told, it works perfectly. So I don't know, but let me go into these really quickly because it's crazy how quickly time flies. All right, so for those that are having issues with root chakras, okay, root chakras. All right. You're going to know it's true. Most parents tend to be guides to the grandkids. Definitely. So tell her mama on her. I'm telling my granny. That's what I would do. All right. So if you are dealing with, we'll say, root chakra issues, okay, and the root chakra issues are what's causing you not to be able to cut cords, okay? Why would you be dealing with root chakra issues? It's probably and most likely because of some type of trauma. You might have in the past had issues with groups of people. You might have either had like issues in the past with being attacked by groups of people, or several people coming at you sideways from a family or a relationship or what have you, okay? You might have had issues with depression. You could have had immune issues. You could have hormone issues such as like thyroid issues. You could have issues like with like weight problems. You could have issues with like chronic back pain, sciatica. You also have adrenaline problems sometimes, could be. But all of that kind of comes into why your root chakra is unaligned, okay? So you also have a tendency of feeling guilty about shit that you didn't do, or being concerned about what people are going to say if you say or do something, okay? So you'll do something and you're like, damn, was that the right thing to do? Or damn, was I right about that? Like, should I have not said that? Maybe I shouldn't have did that. Like, that's another way for you to know that your root chakra is out of alignment. How do you tune that up? When you say some shit, stand on it. I said what I said. Like, I'm not going to change what I said. You know what I mean? And it's not because you're saying it because you know you want to increase your root chakra. It's because you need to make it a tendency to be like, all right, that's what I said. I'm done with it. And don't think about it no more. Don't go back into it no more. Don't worry about it no more. And that's law. Like, and it's not gonna be changed. It's kind of like having kids. You know what I'm saying? I said what I said, and I'm not gonna say it again like that. All right. So usually you know that because you have earth elements in your chart somewhere major. Like you'll have like Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and Neptune, or you have Aries and Mars. You'll have like also an issue with, I don't want to say sexuality because I feel like you're set like for your sexuality, but you come off very like masculine, like damn near, like if you a lady, like you damn near coming off as a dude, and if you're a dude, you're unpenetrable mentally. Like if a chick tell you like something like, oh, I really love you, you like, yeah, all right, whatever, like whatever, like get away from me, like that's how you know when you having like issues with like your root chakra, because you won't believe what people are saying to you. Every time somebody says something to you, you're gonna second guess it, like, or you're gonna get nervous when people start to tell you how they feel about you. You're gonna be like, do you really feel that about me, or do you really think that? Like, are you sure? Like, Like, it's gonna want you to. You're gonna have real life trust issues. So how do you charge that? Okay, you have to have an affirmation. You have to have something that reminds you every time that you're doing that to change it. Because if not, you are already comfortable, with this layer or this wall or this thought process, right? And you'll either play the game when it comes to relationships, or you'll dupe somebody. If that, yeah, they lying. Yeah, exactly. Like, you're gonna assume that everybody is like non-trustworthy. That's a human effect, but it's really an effect if your root chakra. I say various trigger affirmations to catch myself, worked over the years so far. Okay. So that's if you have root chakra, okay? Now, another one that I feel like a lot of people don't understand, and men, this is very important for you, okay? Because your sacral plexus chakra rules testicles and it rules ovaries. Now, this is the chakra that is affected the most. Usually for men, but women, too, energetically, right? Because you're probably sleeping with your person or slept with your person, okay? Or has some type of sexual energy with that person, okay? It says, I've been doing affirmations daily for the past couple of months. Still don't trust people though. Then it's more than that. That means you have to cut cords, because if you do affirmations and the chakra isn't charged or it isn't activated or isn't fixed or it isn't understood, then you're just going to do affirmations and it's not going to do anything. It's going to be like you saying something, you're like, okay, what now? Like, all right, on with my day. Like, but if you're saying the affirmation and it really works, you'll know, because when you activate that chakra and you say the affirmation, you're going to feel energized, or you'll snap out of it and you'll go back about your day. If you have more than several chakras out of alignment, you're irritated the whole day. I hope this is making sense. All right, so sacral plexus chakra. This is the ovaries and the testicles, okay? Women, if you've had any type of, we'll say, trauma, like sexual trauma, sexual abuse, violations, physical abuse, anything that has made you feel uneasy when it comes to the opposite sex or in a relationship, then this is probably going to be one of the issues for you, okay? You'll have a lot of tension, like in the pit of your stomach, all right? And you'll have a lot of guilt. You'll have a lot of issues with relationships. People will try to dominate you. This is how you'll know that your chakra isn't activated, because people will try to tell you what to do. And people that aren't even eligible to tell you what the fuck to do. Like, they ain't even above you in any shape or form, but because they can sense that energy, or they can sense that chakra is not activated, then they feel like they could come in and just kind of like dominate, or they feel like they can control you, okay? So this is one of the main things that men use, which is the sacral plexus chakra, because they use sex for power. Not all men, but this is really what... Sorry, y'all. I love y'all. Just so y'all are aware. All right. So if you're trying to cut cords from a person that is like that, the best way to do that is for you to understand your identity, okay? So as you understand your identity, you have to realize the unhealthy part of the relationship, and you have to realize that you have to express, even if it's to yourself, where your trauma started, okay? If you never admittedly say out loud, you don't have to say it to somebody, but you just have to admit it, that something has happened to you, something was violating, something was dominating, something was negative, something was forceful, something was hurtful, then you're never going to activate that chakra because it's almost like you're running or hiding from the situation in the first place. So you have to face that first. Once that's done, you have to understand how you feel and not be concerned about how you feel. Example of this would be more of like water element, right? Like Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. So you could have Cancer somewhere in your chart. I started when I was 3 years old. Yeah, so you can have water in your chart. Like if you have Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio in a main placement within your chart, you'll probably find that most people try to, overtalk you or outsmart you or treat you some type of way, and it's going to be important for you to explain how you feel, if that makes sense. Like most people that have a non-charged sacral chakra, they don't say shit. Excuse my language. They'll be like, oh, okay, I feel this type of way, but I'm not going to say nothing. Okay, you irritate me, but I'm just not going to say nothing. I'm just going to act like you ain't talking to me. I'm going to ignore it. No, that's not going to work like that because you've already had enough trauma, especially for the women. You've had enough trauma. You have to say how you feel. No, I don't like when you do that. No, I don't like when you say that. Can we find another way? This is where your Mercury comes in. Can we find another way to do this and to do that? Okay. This is the communication process of things. When you talk about cutting cords, you could say, you know what? I'm done with this relationship and I'm cutting this cord because they act like they don't know how to treat me. They act like they don't know how to, they don't know how to talk to me. They don't know how to respect me. They don't know how to, every time I ask them to do this, they do that, or they chose to do this. They chose. You have to make sure you understand the feeling behind why you're cutting that cord. Like you chose to sleep with somebody else. You did that. I feel like if you had a problem, you should have came to me. So as long as you say, I feel in your cord cutting option, it says yes, then it activates my throat chakra, real masculine light. Yes, and you will have to control that because again, some of y'all burned out y'all throat chakra because all you do is talk. You know what I'm saying? All you do is telling a person about themselves. All you is cussing them out and doing this and that. But it ain't really changing nothing though. All it does is leave the other chakras deactivated, and then you go and you find the same type of person and you're saying the same type of thing to a different face, but the same type of energy. So it's going to take you to address the next person if that happens, which hopefully it doesn't. Once you activate your chakras, you probably bring somebody around of what you truly have as your energy or inner being, okay? And you won't have to do none of this shit again. It's just done. You still got to work on your chakras after you find your person, but for the most part, you're addressing what you need to address, all right? So we'll say solar plexus chakra, okay? These are more fiery people, okay? These are people that, hold their pee all the time. Got to be a Libra. Even though I know it's a fire element, you might have fire somewhere in your chart, okay? These are the people that you'll sit there and see them holding a pee. You be like, yo, I know you got to go to the bathroom, shorty. Like, just go use the bathroom. They be rocking side to side and shit, okay? That's them, all right? These are people that suffer from anger issues, all right? They don't like to be controlled. They don't like people to try to control them. They have a lot of issues when it comes to power. Everything is about having the upper hand. You got one up on me, I'm getting you back. Or you said this to me, I'm saying something back, okay? It says, why do we do this? I'm about to tell you right now, okay? I'm going to tell you right now. The affirmation for the sacral chakra is I can, all right? So when you're thinking about I can, the reason people do the shit is because you can. This is why these type of people, when they get with somebody that's dominant or more dominant than them, they fall in love instantly. Like, oh my God, they told me no. Oh my God, they told me to go sit my ass in the corner. Oh my God, they did this, they did that. They told me to do this and that. Oh, that's daddy now, But really, you're not understanding that this person is probably out of alignment too with their sacral chakra. So they're only there to have power over you. But because your chakra and maybe many other chakras are out of alignment, they're going to take all of the power now and run with it. because they don't care about activating their chakras. They don't care about being a better person. They don't care about being a high energy. They just want a chore energy. But while you thinking you controlling some shit saying, I can, you can. And they let you because they knew that that's what you wanted. They knew that you were power hungry. They knew that you always want to and can do some shit. And they let you do that to them so they can get your energy and go. These are the people that you probably want to cut cords from, like Scorpio. It sounds too toxic, but yet so scarily real. World of chakra. So we'll say, how do you know that your solar plexus chakra is activated? Okay. It needs to be activated. It needs to be activated because you have a lot of issues with intimidation. You have self-esteem issues. You have self-confidence issues, self-respect issues, care of self issues. And when I say self-esteem, I don't mean like you're unconfident, like, oh, am I pretty? Self-esteem can also be when somebody says, I'm not doing something, and you don't believe they ass, and they really ain't doing the shit. Look up the definition of self-esteem. When I say self-confidence, it's not like, oh, am I pretty? It's like, that's who you working with. That's who calling you. They work in your building. They do this. They do that. You're out with the person. You looking for their type so you can see it first. That's self-confidence. I hope this is making sense, okay? So a lot of times you're the person that's responsible for making the decisions. All of the decisions in your life and in that person's life, okay? This is how you know that you have a low solar plexus chakra, because you're doing shit because you can, all right? And you suffer from anger issues. Like, everything pisses you off. You have sensitivity to criticism. If somebody tries to tell you some shit, you're like, you're a goddamn lie, JB, and the truth ain't in you. Yeah, I put my Capricorn through hell due to my Scorpio, but put Mr. through. Yeah. I mean, we ain't about what we deserve. It's about the energy that we put out there that we get back. So sometimes people can put energy out there and they don't even deserve it, you know? But that's the energy that they get back, because whether unconsciously, subconsciously, whether right, wrong, whether if we intend to, we just put it out there. So it don't have no choice but to come back. So this is why little kids don't have these issues. It ain't because they ain't been in a relationship. It's because they ain't working none of their shit and they don't care about none of their shit, you know? But to go back to this, you'll know if yours is out of needs to be charged, because you have a lot of fatigue, you have a lot of dysfunction, you'll have, it says, what you explained sounded like a codependent relationship, one depending on the other. So is it fair to say codependent relationships caused by chakra misalignment? I feel like codependent relationships can be chakra misalignment. Now, let me say this too, all right? People will go to a motherfucker that have a PhD, all right? Because and I'm addressing this on my next live, either on Everything Empress or on Taurus Rising Tarot. Because I had a motherfucker tell me, excuse my language, well, certain people don't have the credentials to do certain shit or to say certain shit. Well, I know motherfuckers that have the credentials and they don't know none of this shit. And they've never healed nobody. You've never seen a psychologist that's really a tarot reader or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit that we really need to heal from, we don't need no fucking credentials for. If you've been through a spiritual misalignment, or if you've been through dark nights of the soul and you've been through some shit like that, there ain't no fucking credentials in the world that's gonna help you with that shit. I hope that makes sense. So I hope y'all understand, like, certain things, certain people won't understand this shit. So you could tell them this, and you could tell them what they're doing and who they're affiliated, all that shit, right? And they're not gonna get it. You understand because you're going through the shit and you're tired of going through the shit. So you're gonna find any way to fix it, which is why you have to be careful, true, but you also have to make sure that you're doing what's necessary for you, you know? All right, as long as there's no dark shit, because if as soon as it becomes dark, I gotta kick you off. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. All right, let's get to the heart chakra. All right. Heart chakra is out of alignment when you have resentment, okay? When you can't forgive, when you feel lonely, when you have hope and, oh wow, and you feel like you can't forgive somebody, you have trust issues, it's love and hate. This is when you play a back and forth game, a toying game with a person. This is when you have repressed heartache, when you have grief, okay? This is when you have a lot of tightness, like in the center of your chest, like if you took your 3 or 4 fingers and you put it in the middle of your chest. All right, it says, I'm single and healing and do not looking for anything. When my divine partner comes, cool. If not, cool. Yeah, it's really the smart way to do it. But this is your air signs, okay? Obviously, we know Libra runs Venus, okay? They are an air and element sign. You'll know them because you'll know when somebody wants to be in alignment with their chakras, okay? Especially a Libran, all right? They usually wear more of like olive. Some of y'all might wear black, burgundy, maybe even khaki, like that tan, like a tan color, because it's usually like in hopes of what you want. Like if you pay attention to what people wear, that usually tells you their chakras. I know this is so crazy, but like I'm so now in tune with all of this that I can tell like who's vibrant with what, you know? And I just really let people walk up on me, you know what I mean? And like talk to me. And I already know what they own. Do that make sense? It'd be like, all right, this motherfucker wearing black, all right, you know, they like if this makes sense, it's like you will eventually, you know, if you go through the course, you'll eventually get so cold at this that you'll be able to know what's to people without having to even put energy into it. And it's going to be up to you to pick a select your person if they select you to, you know, to be in alignment with your person. But you're going to not really go through any more situations where you need to cut cords because you won't allow yourself to get that deep into things in the first place unless it's on a good note. I hope that makes sense. All right. So most of these people usually have a lot of, you can have asthma, and that ain't a joke because I really got that shit. But you can have, you know, sometimes blood pressure issues, diabetes, allergies, really bad allergies. You can have a lot of congestion of the nose. Are you gonna have a teacher teacher class? I am. It'll be probably in the summer though, because I gotta get some of the stuff off my plate. But you guys that need to charge your heart chakras, you are some of the most compassionate people, all right? And your connection with others only come through you. Let me say that again. So if you meet somebody, you fall in love with somebody, you're not in love with the person, you're in love with what you like about yourself or what you want for yourself or how cool is that about them. I would do that myself, or I'm like that myself, or I don't do that enough with myself or to myself. Everything has to do with oneself. Like, this is how you get so attached to this person that they almost drain your heart chakra. Not to the point where you're like, oh, I love you. It's like they're draining your heart chakra because you giving so much of yourself that you're forgetting to leave something for you. So what does that look like? All right. How do you know you need to recharge your heart chakra? You're doing everything for your partner and nothing for you. You're asking them every question under the sun, but you're not asking yourself the same questions. How do you cut cords with that? You figure out what attracted them to you in the first place. Because if your heart chakra needs to be recharged, it's because you were at a high point in life. You had pretty much everything that you needed. Are there any zodiac signs that are highly prone? Yeah, actually Tauruses are really prone to males. Taurus males are really prone to like lungs, like asthma, stuff like that. Yeah, lung issues. Like you'll find that most Tauruses or people that have like heavy placements of Taurus in their chart, they have like breathing issues, or they breathe heavy, or they have oxygen issues. It's really crazy. Like it's really crazy. But to go back to the heart chakra, when you're thinking about recharging your heart chakra, you have to look at it from an angle of what did you give that you knew they shouldn't have had? I will. Like, what did you give that you knew that they shouldn't have had? So a person will say, well, I gave everything that I should have gave at the time frame because I love hard, okay? Well, if you gave somebody, we'll say, I don't know, time, money, your body, everything, then it's up to you to figure out the importance of everything that you gave them and what they shouldn't have had. It says, sounds like some BS, LOL. I don't know what that means. But the more you're working on your chakras, okay, or heart chakra, the more you have to realize what you were looking for out of the relationship. Like, what were you trying to obtain when you met them? Because usually, if your heart chakra is not activated or charged, you're picking something out of convenience, and it just so happened that this person showed up at a time frame. It says, well, now we know why. LOL. I missed something. What I miss? Oh, okay. So it's going to be imperative for you to look at why you selected this person in the first place. All right. In fact, I think I've asked y'all to do this before. I said, who have asthma? We are to. I think I asked y'all to do this before, was to look at the last 5 relationships that y'all had in a relationship, right? Or the last 5. I can't talk today. The last 5 relationships that you had, what did they look like? Like, what did they mimic? 9 times out of 10, after you broke up with the person, they weren't even somebody that you would talk to, or somebody you really didn't know, somebody you really wasn't really connected with. They probably came in at a time frame, as I always say, when your vibration was at the highest point. And the things that you did not recharge is where they played on. We don't recharge our heart chakras because we don't use them enough. Most people say, oh, we go around and we love everybody, we loving this, we loving that. Actually, you don't. Actually, most of the world has trust issues. So if most of the world has trust issues, they're not just throwing their heart chakra out there. Their heart chakra is actually dimmed because you've been hurt before. So that's the one chakra you ain't using when you meet somebody. What you looking at is what they can do for you, personality, sexual connection, conversation, company, what's to them. That's really a lot of what's happening when it comes to relationships. You're not jumping into the relationship for love off bat. So if that's the case, that means your heart chakra probably hasn't been activated since your first breakup. If you did come back from your first breakup, then your last breakup. But you got to figure out what part of self caused you to be drawn to this person. Because when you're done with somebody, you really realize what about them you didn't like. What about them you weren't understanding how you even talked to them for. You understood the disconnects. You understood everything you didn't like about this person. Now, if you so happen to, we'll say, have cheated, okay, and you, the person that broke up the relationship, we'll say, then you have to look at what was it about that other person that drawed you to them. That's what you're cutting cords on. I hope this is making sense. So I'm past an hour, y'all. So in course number 2, I'm going to pick up from where I left off. But right now, if you are a part of those particular chakras right now, or that is your situation for the chakras that you need to activate, and you're trying to cut cords, it's going to be imperative for you to listen again to those particular chakras and why you haven't cut cords from your person is going to probably be why, because those chakras are out of alignment. Always makes sense. You think so? I'll be hearing stuff in my head. That made me sound crazy as hell. But I'll be hearing stuff in my head and I'll be saying it, but it'd be like, okay, you might understand it because you might have read on this shit for hours or days or weeks or whatever, but other people might not understand like what that is, if that makes sense. So, time to start looking at our dysfunction. So is it fair to say that once you start realizing the reasons why a relationship didn't work out, the more you indirectly heal your chakras and get your power back? Yeah. And the minute you cut cords with that, it's going to open up your... You ever heard people say, once you learn your lesson, once you learn your lesson universally, okay, you don't ever do that shit again. It's people universally, like spiritually, okay, that do the same shit over and over. Like men, I'm not trying to be funny, it take y'all a minute before y'all actually activate all y'all chakras. Because sometimes y'all not ever even just in touch with certain things. Like y'all not in touch with y'all throat chakra. Like, yeah, you can tell a chick that you love her. Yeah, you can tell her you want to be with her. But a lot of men don't know what it means to communicate their feelings. You know what I mean? This is how I feel about the situation. Or they were taught to stand down, you know? So if a woman is on their ass and nagging their neck or, you know, talking shit, excuse my language, they don't know how to say, hey, wait, whoa. Like, why are you acting like this? What are you doing? Like, why are you upset? Come on, sit down, let's talk about this. Instead, they will do shit like, oh man, you just, you know, this and that. I gotta go. Like, they're gonna brush that off. That's how you know an immature or undeveloped, if they're either immature or a person that hasn't dealt with certain chakras, because certain things feel uncomfortably to them. I'm definitely in touch with my throat chakra. If you know, oh my God, come on, y'all. That's for the TR after dark. Okay, yep, so true. Lots of men are good at expressing emotions except through anger and sex and materialism, especially so true. Yes. And when you're dealing with women, right, that are not in tune with their root chakra, the more you're saying shit like that to them and their root chakra is already off, they're gonna be with the shit. So this is why it's imperative for y'all to know like who you're dealing with. And cord cutting ain't gonna be so hard once you identify why you ain't with that motherfucker in the first place. So I hope that makes sense. I hope this makes sense. If y'all have any questions, definitely ask in the classroom. I'm about to put y'all chakra assignment in there. For those that watch the video, I wanted y'all to understand how the importance of chakras. It's not just about cord cutting. It's about like your alliance in general. Because the minute you get all this stuff in a line, the minute you control your masculinity for females and maybe even, the feminine for males or both for male or female, your life is just going to flow so much easier. You know, you have moments where you snap the fuck out because I know I'll be like, hey, yo, like, get the gloves, you know what I'm saying? Or the 30. But in other times, it'd be like, all right, it is what it is, you know? Cool. I love y'all. And we're going to be back Sunday of next week. Anybody got any questions? Y'all better ask me now. This is when you selfish. Ask me now or I'm going to be gone. She said the 30. Hell yeah, shit. I ain't fucking around. I got precious assets. Blow a hole in a motherfucker. This is will you marry me, LOL. Funny Tiara. I'm still mad about the IBTC crew, okay? We ain't go. It says, can you break down my birth chart? I can. I do birth chart readings. In fact, I just did some and I tried to upload them to YouTube and they kept crashing. But yeah, if you want to do a birth chart reading, you got to inbox me on IG. It's $45. You got to cash it. It says, what is our assignment for the week? I'm going to put it in your classroom. If you're not a part of the classroom, the Google Classroom, you need to join it. I'm in the crew. Cool. Y'all hear Aretha laughing? She's so funny. I'm curious. I want to be a nosy mom real quick. How would an Aquarius 25 and 20-year-old relationship be? Um, it would be toxic. It would be toxic. It depends on their moon sign. It's in video one. There's a link under video one. You just click the link and join. You got to have a Google account, which most do. I want to be a part of the crew. That's so funny. Aquarius can be very toxic, especially it depends on the male's moon sign. Because if he has an Aquarius moon too, yeah, that's gonna be unique. Any other questions? All right, so I'm gonna go be fat. I bought a Cinnabon and I'm gonna go and enjoy. Okay. Anything with Aquarius is toxic. That's so funny. Control fights. Yeah. Or you could just tell them this shit ain't right for you. You need to go. I'm gonna message you on Patreon. Okay. Thanks. All right. Love y'all. Thanks. Bye.